Good morning, this is Jason Logs with Education 694 Video Artifact, Classroom, Environment and Culture. You'll see a picture of me at the end, but I'm just going to show you what my classroom looks like from the door. So what I like to do every day is when they come in at the door, I like them to start off with a positive attitude, give them a kind of, hey, how is everything going? How was your day? How was your weekend? Just to kind of start things on a positive note. So here's an overview of the classroom. As you can see that the tables are set up in two pairs, and then I put them in a U-shaped orientation, and then the two pods in the middle. And I'll kind of get into more why I do that. So as we walk around the room, you'll see that I have the upcoming assessments posted for all three of my courses. Helps the kids stay on top of task when their ultimate goal, when they need to perform on assessments. I also created when I'm available after school, just for extra help, be able to supply support for all of my students from geometry to algebra 2 to pre-calc. So these are my times I'm usually available. And as you can see later if needed, I kind of like to make arrangements. And then right now the whiteboard space is pretty, white. Right now we haven't done too much in class. We're just getting things started. In terms of, as we walk through here, we'll get into our retake ticket answer keys. I'll post the answer keys for the kids to be able to check their work. Check to see how well things are going, and then we go from there. We get into our retake aspect, which will be a different conversation. This spot is more of mine, my domain. Sorry, pardon the mess a little bit. Not too bad. I like to stay somewhat organized. I like to make sure I'm showing off the sports that I enjoy, obviously the American flag, and just kind of stay with the family, what means a lot to me. As you get through here, this is me saying past materials and answer keys. I created something new this year for the students. Any late or missing assignments they put in baskets. So here's basket 1 for first hour, second basket for third hour, third basket for fourth hour, or third hour, and then the fourth basket for fourth hour. And then there's supplies. There's a stapler, there's erasers. The pencils are not out right now, but kind of just creating a warm environment for them to come into. Also, we have in-class textbooks for geometry and algebra 2, so I'll make sure that if they're missing their book or they can't find their book, they left it at home, we've got an extra copy to kind of create that warm environment that, hey, if you happen to forget, I got you taken care of, and they can still be able to stay on task. And then just some supplement materials for pull examples, and then one thing that I feel our school does a pretty good job with is making sure that there's technology in the classroom. So we have TI Inspires for all of our classes, as well as just regular TI 30 calculators, especially in math. And then as we go through here, some of the drawers, I have a lot of whiteboard work, so we've got some whiteboards there, as well as some individual whiteboards right here with markers and erase boards. So I kind of do this on day one. I introduce where everything is, all the supplies, pencils, rulers, scissors, just so that way if they need it or they need anything that within class, they kind of can just come up and get it. So it's giving them respect that, if you need materials, I'm not going to let that be what ruins the relationship or the environment in here, because we're getting in a battle over coming prepared to class. Lastly, in terms of, I shouldn't say lastly, but as we continue to move around the room, on my sideboard, I've got my 3 courses, and I always like to start off with a warm-up, just to kind of preview of what we've covered. How does that transition into where we're going? And as you can see, there's an algebra 2, there's the geometry, and then there's a pre-calc, which I don't have today, so I don't have one written up. And then continuing with the technology, with the graphing calculators. And then every classroom in Bearville High School has a smart board, which we're able to interact, change the colors, write things out for the kids to be able to see and work with, on top of a lot of whiteboard space, as you can see on the video. Sorry for going too fast. One thing that I feel like I do a really good job of is making sure that the kids feel inviting when they come in the classroom. So I think one thing that really does a really nice job of that is the arrangement of the desk. They can all see the projector, they can all see the smart board, they're all able to see the board, but they're also in like 2 groups or groups of 4 where they're able to collaborate, bounce answers off each other, ask for input, kind of work together on solutions. For me as a teacher, This new arrangement is really nice because I can come in, you know, if these two kids in the back here need a little bit of help, I can come in this little corner here and I'm able to help possibly all 4 students at the same time while still having interaction. So most of the time I like to get down at their level. So it's more eye to eye. It's not commanding or not demanding on them. It's more relaxing, more conversational. And then if it really gets to the point where, you know, things are not working well, I'll just pull up a chair. Let's say someone's not sitting, I'll just pull a chair up and sit and have a conversation with them. Most of my conversation with kids, just because I like to keep it respectful in both manners, is at eye level. I don't like to feel like I'm looking down on them. So this arrangement allows for me to kind of just pop in and walk around the classroom, but yet still be able to keep things going, keep things on task, see what the kids are doing, hear the conversations that they're having with their groups. So one thing I think it really creates my environment is the natural flow of the desk. And then lastly, since we're in a grading for learning assessment for our courses, one thing that me and my wife kind of came up with is we are assessing the kids on 5 standards. So we want to make sure these standards are visible for them to see. So we created a little crafting. So one of our 5 standards is right here in red with the equations and equality, and expressions and functions, visual representation, conjecture and conclusion through reasoning, and then models and structures. So we're assessing these kids on how well they can perform in those 5 areas. So for me, it's great reference, and it helps the kids realize, you know, if we're talking about what we did on the board today, how we solve and how we graph, well, I can relate back to the 2 standards that are on the board. And then it matches what they see in the classroom. So the other thing is, from the day one, the kids know that I'm here for them. I'm going to give them every support they possibly can, but let them create their own mindset and let them make mistakes and learn from them. So I feel like the environment allows them to make mistakes and learn from it. The interaction with me allows for them to do that. And then just the natural flow throughout the room. And I know we're only 9 days into the school year right now. Some of the kids are new, so they're trying to figure out my ways and my techniques. But so far it's gone really well, and I'm happy to see that. So give you another overview of the room. In terms of the decorations, obviously I like to keep it a little bit low-key somewhat, because I do have some kids that have ADHD and need the less distractions for them to help focus on their kids or their students, and also focus on me, what we're learning, and the content. So this is a view from the back of the room. The space gives me time to move, keeps things active, and then it's easy for us to do activities. So lastly, I'm Jason Laux. This is my classroom. This is my 10th year teaching. I like to make sure that I'm very warm and inviting and keep things upbeat, and then we have a good time in here. So like I said, this is my video artifact for Education 694 Classroom Environment. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed.